Aurora is self-described as a black, biracial, transgender, queer visionary from below the poverty line. Born and raised all over Richmond, Virginia, Aurora had very little in the way of privilege. Growing up extremely poor, most of her childhood was spent moving around from home to home and trying to reconcile her identity with the world in which she lived. As an interracial person, Aurora sees herself as being simultaneously black, white, and biracial, while also being none of them singularly at any time. Though she is interracial and transgender, she considers herself politically as a queer black social innovator. In 2018, Aurora began her gender transition transparently so that she could fully live in her truth. I'm struggling with pronouns, I'll get it. She uses her platform to champion diversity, equity, and inclusion in her professional roles at VCU, as well as in her free time. Aurora loves public speaking, performing, and recording podcasts and making videos that elevate the lives of queer trans people of color, community, locally, and globally. Aurora recently completed a master's degree in education leadership, a major point of pride as a first-generation college student. She strives to leverage her multiple identities in order to make her community safer, stronger, and more beautiful than she found it. Please welcome Aurora.
How are you?
Hey.
Good. I'm gonna sit, but also I'm wearing shorts, so if you guys see anything unsavory, just let me know, or enjoy, whatever. So I'm so honored to be here, and just so everyone knows, I have my phone just to make sure that I'm on time because I am a talker, and I promise I'm not looking at notes, so please don't get me if you see me looking at my phone, I swear. So when I saw this opportunity, I actually told myself that I was going to tell my coming out story. And because about a year ago from September 20th, I actually started hormone replacement therapy. And when I say that when my bio says that I started my transition transparently, that's really what I mean. I fully committed to being my true and authentic self. And so I was like, okay, perfect. I'm gonna tell a coming out story. So original, I know. And I had my heart set on that, and something happened to me, and though it was semi-traumatic, I thought that it not only made a great story, but it also really showed me who I am and showed me the power that I have in my own narrative. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into my story, but before I do, for respect of everyone in the room, there is a particular homophobic slur that I will use as a part of my story because it happened to me. And I'm gonna try my best whenever it comes up, I'm gonna give like a little hand signal, just as like a trigger content warning. If anyone's here is gonna be triggered by that, I totally get it. Close your ears or at least think happy thoughts right before when you see that hand signal. So. The name of my story is Power Transference, and see what I did there. So it was about 2 weeks ago. I got up, left my house, and I live in Jackson Ward, and I love living in Jackson Ward. I love living downtown. I honestly can't see myself living anywhere else, but there's downsides to living in the middle of the city. Namely, there are a lot of men just out and about, and this can happen anywhere, but in my neighborhood, there's a particular, the men feel empowered to tell me their thoughts, and their thoughts are not always things I want to hear. And so I was walking out of my house, and there was a man on the stoop of my building. And, you know, before I even saw him, I was having a pretty good day. I was running only 5 minutes late to work, so pretty good, really good. And I hadn't even faced the man. I literally had my back turned towards him, and he's sitting on my stoop, and I live in like a 2-unit building. He's definitely not my neighbor, and he's definitely doesn't live in my house, so he has no business being there. And my guess, he had nowhere else to be. I don't know if he had a place to call his own or what. But he sounded pretty belligerent, and without even seeing my face, he just yells at me. This is the hand signal, trigger warning signal. Hey, faggot. I know you're a faggot. I know you're a faggot. And yeah, and I was like, wow, that hurts, because it's 9 a.m. Well, it's 9:05 because I'm 5 minutes late for work. And it's 9:05, and I have yet to build up my barriers that I put up in my walls that help me navigate through my day. And I'm usually pretty good. I'm usually pretty strong, even when in a world where I shouldn't have to be strong. I'm, pretty good at building walls. My boyfriend will tell you that that's true. And yeah, but at 9:05 a.m., I haven't put up the walls yet. I don't have the wherewithal to really protect myself at that point. So when he said that, it really got to me. It hurt. And there's a lot rolled into that. There is this idea that he didn't even have to look at my face to know that, to read me as not being cis-femme, or cis woman. And for those of you in the crowd, cis woman, or being cis means that you identify as the gender you were assigned at birth. And I'm trans, and therefore I am not cisgender. So he didn't even have to look at my face to know that I wasn't cis. And so I was like, damn, that really sucks, because I put a lot of effort into quote unquote passing, and I do that to protect myself. I shouldn't have to. Passing should not be the goal of a trans person. I should be able to be as trans as I want to be, but I when I'm not passing, I'm vulnerable to violence, verbal and physical. And so I was just like, damn, I really, I thought I slayed my makeup, but none of that even mattered because he didn't even see my face. So either he's seen me around and has been watching me, or there's just something else about me that he, just triggered that I was trans. And so, again, what really sucks is that I get a lot of commentary on my appearance, a lot of it good, I will say. Most of it unnecessary, but sometimes it's still positive. I don't, it's kind of one of those things that's like, that's technically a nice thing, but I didn't really need the commentary on my physical appearance. It's that weird both and. So a lot of it is good, but sometimes it's not. And I know I'm cute. I think that I am inherently cute. I think a lot of people, I think most people are cute. I think if you feel cute, you're cute. And I also spend thousands of hours learning to do makeup on YouTube. And so I'm like, I spent an hour doing this makeup, so I definitely know I'm cute just because I put work into it. And I get positive comments a lot. And it's funny how it takes a village to build up self-esteem, but it only takes one antagonizer to tear it all down. I don't know if anyone else ever felt that. I see nodding heads. So I felt like shit the rest of the day. I was reeling, and he made me feel invalidated as a femme person. He made me angry because even though he called me a faggot, and I know, and that is usually assigned to cis men who are queer, I was angry that he would use that for anyone, even if I didn't think that that word applied to me. That word doesn't have any power, period, when it's coming from someone who only has hate. But it still made me feel bad, and it made me angry that he would call anyone that, and that he would try and ruin anyone's day, let alone mine. Someone I don't even know him. Yeah, so it was a rough day. It was a rough rest of my day, and it took a lot for me to try and get that back. And I was coming up on my 1 year of being on hormone replacement therapy, and so I was going all these like really negative messages that society, puts in my head. And so I went ahead and I thought about it, and I was like, well, what can I do to make this better? And I went to the circuit courts and I applied to have my name changed and my gender marker changed about a year out from when I started my journey. And instead of letting that man define me, I pitied him and thought that he had so much hate that he thought he had to bring me down. And I took the power back. I transferred that power back to me, the power of that narrative. See what I did there? I recently just got the letter that my name and gender marker are on their way of being changed. And even though it's just a piece of paper, I now have that much more validation that my identity, my narrative is mine to make, and no one can take that from me. So I stand before you all, Aurora Austin Renee Higgs, and I am a fabulous trans woman who is beautiful and who is powerful and who is in charge of their own narrative. So I want to thank you all for hearing my story, and I want to let you all know that you're all beautiful and powerful and in charge of your own narratives. So thank you all so much.